I do not own the right copy to some of the music, piece of music I will say. I want to look at 7 events that are going to happen in the future that will lead to World War III. And 4. As you can see now, there is standoff number 1 between Russia and Ukraine. That is standoff number 1. People think that Russia is finished, but there is more to come. What's going to happen? I don't know what will happen to Putin. I don't know whether there will be another leader who will be harder than Putin that will take after. I don't know. And also the other thing is, I don't want to say much. What's going to happen is that there will be standoff number 2 between America and North Korea. What's going to happen is that North Korea will surprise America. They will attack mainland America when America think that they are a superpower. They will be surprised. They will see North America. And prayers will not be heard. And the other thing I'm going to talk about is that in the future, churches are going to be closed because of evil that's happening in the church. This time, there won't be no internet. There won't be no preaching on internet, because internet will be gone. And the other thing which is happening is that when standoff number 2 is happening, it will create standoff number 3, because America will go to war with Korea. When it goes to war with Korea, it will actually create standoff number 3, because China will be threatened by America in Taiwan and in South China Sea. And then China will reply by sinking an American ship, which when China does that, it will be a big ship. America will see it as a war. I think it will happen in South China Sea. The other will happen in Taiwan. And then America is going to do this. I think it will nuke China, and then China will reply, and I think there will be a drilling of a certain state in America. Because what's going to happen, this will create other standoff. American big ships will be sunk, and then Australia will also be involved. Australia will see that America is being beaten, and then they'll say, let's make a deal with China. And then they will put out to revenge later after World War IV. Because what's going to happen is that when this is happening, at a later stage, America will not have a president, because the thing will escalate into Israel, Iran, Russia as well invading Europe. Things are going to be worse and worse, because this is going to happen, last for 26 years. Because what's going to happen is, when America, what will happen is that Russia at that time, they will come together with Iran when the Iran interest will be attacked by Israel. I don't know whether it's inside or I think it's outside. And then that will trigger World War III. Because it's something that will actually anger Iran. It will be done by Israel. Israel will attack an interest of Iran. I don't know how this will happen. And then that's why World War III will escalate. And then Russia that time will attack New York City. What's going to happen is that I don't know the relationship between America and Britain. I think they will fail off at first, and then they will come back together. And then when they come back together, they will fail off again. I don't know the Good Friday peace agreement, whether it will be broken or what. I don't know. That was signed on Friday, 13 February. Friday, 13 March, Friday, 13 November 1998. I don't know whether it will be broken or what. I don't know whether it will be broken or what. And while this is happening, there shall come a time when World War III is happening that America will not have a president, because America will go to war and they will lose a lot of soldiers to an extent that they will pull out, and then they will actually not be able to defend Europe, and then mainland America will be attacked. There will be a situation whereby China will invade America. China will invade America on 3 occasions, and North Korea on 2 occasions. And then what's going to happen? There will come a time when America will say, let's wait for Russia. That's the time when America will what? Will lose inner coastal states inside America. And then that's where this woman who's called Hillary Clinton will come, wearing a crown from Britain. Because Hillary Clinton is going to wear the crown of Queen Elizabeth. And we don't know whether Queen Elizabeth is alive, because what's going to happen is that Charles will take over. I don't know what's going to happen between Charles and Camilla, and then we don't know what's going to happen to the child of Prince Charles. I mean, the child of Prince Charles. I forgot his name. What is going to happen is that when that child takes over, I don't know what will happen, whether it will be long lived, because they are all coming forward to fight World War III. That's the prophecy they will fulfill. I'm going to talk about a thing which will be happening while the war is happening. The war will affect Northern Hemisphere, and then it will push oil prices up to 1,000. As you see, oil is 200. The oil will go up to 1,000 millions, and it will be expensive. The euro, the US dollar, the pound will fall. And then also what's going to happen is that when this is happening, there will be World War III will affect Northern Hemisphere, and European Union will collapse. Northern Hemisphere, which is Asia, Middle East, Europe, 4 countries or 5 countries in North Africa, and then there will be North America as well, up to Mexico. The rest of these places are not going to be involved. Central America, South America, and then Africa, which will be under Biafra, they won't be involved, 80% of them. And then Australia. But people are going to be dying from drought, a third of them in all these places. I'm going to talk about Africa, why this will happen. Remember, churches will close down, as I say. In Africa, this will happen because Yoruba are supplying juju to criminals who are their tribe called Lewa, Jewa, Luba people. Those are Yoruba who have got criminal records, who are protected by juju that Yoruba supplies them. They are supposed to be arrested, but Yoruba supply juju to them not to be arrested. And then what's happening, the Yoruba will pay for this, and Hausa as well give juju in order to protect them not to be arrested, because Hausa and Yoruba, they are one. And then I'm going to talk about the thing that's happening in Ghana and Ethiopia, whereby in Ghana this will happen because fathers in Ghana, there's a generational case where fathers kill mothers of children and hide them in the sea, in the river, in the dam, in order for children to remain without a mother. What they do, they use mothers of children as ritual. And what happens, a child will remain without a mother, and then they send demonic spirits to enter men and prophesy children. Most of these men you see prophesying in churches, they are entered by demons that are sent by fathers. I said in another video, I'm not going to talk much about it. And then what's happening is that this thing which Ghanaian are doing, they will pay for it in the Ethiopian, and God is going to actually make them pay. And that's why some of them will die. You'll see them, some of them dying from hunger. This will come because of the sin that they have. And that person, when you remember me, I'm not a prophet, I'm a messenger. I'm a messenger. I'm simply a messenger. I'm not a prophet. So, and then I'm going to leave that thing of Africa. I'm going to talk about the thing which is happening in America. I find this being unfair. There are certain men and women in America, men who actually are like this because they've been disappointed on marriage. They go around praying for men only and exclude women because women disappointed them in marriage. This leads to the spirit of homosexuality. And also there are women who call themselves prophetess. Men, most of them who call themselves prophets from all races. They are actually having this spirit whereby they go around praying for men because they are having a certain spirit of homosexuality. And then they women as well, they do like that. Whereby I had a certain woman that she went to a certain conference of women where she saw women who was praying for a woman who was actually having a spirit of lesbian. I've heard a lot of stories like that. There are some prophetesses who have got a spirit of lesbian, and then they're all races. And then there are some men who call themselves prophets who love praying for men because they've got a spirit of same-sex marriage. And then also the women who love praying for women because they've got a spirit of same-sex marriage. That's not right. I know there are also prophetesses from all races who are into this church of Satan, whereby they go and worship in a church of Satan, while they claim they are worshiping God. That's why I say God will close churches and judgment of America is coming. Because some of them, they are having a spirit whereby they are into Satanism, they are into what? I know there are good prophetesses who does prophetic dancing and also prophetesses who do psalmist. I can't say a lot. I can't say a lot. Let me leave this thing alone. I didn't say all prophetesses and prophets from all races are bad in America. I said there are some who are good. Don't say that. I know some of them, they can use evil, but we are watching. Let me just continue this message. World War III will last for 26 years. While this is going on, there shall be a lot of things that are happening, whereby the West will be dominated by the East for 26 years, creating World War III, World War IV. Because what's going to happen is many surprises will happen and many battles will be fought. And then what's going to happen is that after World War III is over, Germany will take over and rule and create an empire called Republic of Europe. I know Credometer spoke about this and others. I'm not going to go into a message of Credometer, but I'm speaking my own message, not Credometer. Mine goes further than Credometer. Credometer ends on China, but mine goes further and further and further and further. Let me talk about this. The other thing I was showing was that when Germany is ruling the world, Germany will last a short time because they're going to use Australia to start wars with China. It will trigger many wars that are going to happen. And let me just say this. I'll say this once and for all. The calendar will continue as normal. And then what's going to happen is that when Germany is ruling, when they invade African countries through Holland, through Boers, they are going to colonize 50% of Africa and fail to take the other Africa. I don't know what's going to happen. And then after, that's why China will actually, when they are fighting China through Australia, China will overpower them, because that will create World War V. And because it will be 3 world wars that are happening. Remember, I said oil will rise up. I rise up that time in World War III, World War IV. And then what's going to happen? I don't know whether the same thing will happen when that war is happening as well. Because it's going to be world wars after world wars, and those world wars are going to be nuclear, all of them. World wars won't end there, because China will actually invade Europe and then go to America and revenge what America did to them in World War IV. And Japan will use China to revenge what America did to them in World War II, where they attacked Japan on Saturday, 9 September 1945. I may not say much. Remember, also want to say this. China will take over the world and the calendar will change. Instead of starting on 1 January to start on 1 February and end on 31st January. And other empires that rule in the future are going to also change calendar. Some of them will be starting on 1 March, ending on 29 or 28 February. Some will start on 1 April, ending on 31st day March. Some will be starting on 1 May and ending on 30 April. Some will be starting on 1 June and ending on 31st May. And then some will be starting on 1 August and ending on 31st July. Some will be starting on 1 November and ending on 31st October. Some will be starting their calendar on 1 December and ending on 3rd of November. It depends upon who rules the world. It will depend. I won't say much. And weather pattern are going to change. Places that are warmer today, like Southern Hemisphere, will become colder because God wants to preserve His world. And in another time, Northern Hemisphere will be warmer. And then in another time, Northern Hemisphere will become colder and Southern Hemisphere will become warmer. That's the way how God is. And Antarctica will become warmer and then become cold. So it depends upon how you see things. So what's happening is that empires that rule, they will build taller buildings, then they'll become international languages, and they'll be what will happen, they'll be the one that control economy. And they'll build taller building, like China will have a taller building, taller than Germany. And then what's going to happen? China will dominate in World War VI, World War VII, and then they'll fall. Remember the song of Zaga and Evans, which was big on Saturday, 14 June 1969, and Saturday, 26 July 1969. I won't say much about that one. Because what's happening is that in that song, it's talking about World War VII, that Brazil and Portugal will fight China, and then they will win, and then they will dominate the world. And then when they are dominating the world, China, when they are ruling, I said they will discover Mars. They will colonize Mars. They'll be the first nation to colonize Mars. And then after, Brazil will colonize another planet. Because what's going to happen is that Brazil will actually discover another planet, and then they'll build a taller building, which is 1,200 meters up higher. And then when they are dominating, they'll dominate the whole world, and then they'll be overtaken by Yoruba, who will actually overpower them, and then they will destroy Portugal. And then Portugal will be gone, and because Portugal will have taken Spain, and then all of that empire will be gone. And then America, Britain, France, Italy, Germany, they won't be there in the map. There will be other empires What's going to happen is that when Yoruba take over, they are going to actually discover other invasion, other planet, and then they will actually become a superpower, but they will be overpowered by Zulu, and then they will take Australia. Australia will no longer be called Australia, because Australia will be taken by China, because China is going to be an imperialist country, remember I said. And then there's going to be Yoruba, or that will have taken over as well. Yoruba will become an imperialist empire. And then it will rule, after it rule, it will be overtaken by Zulu, who will actually take over Australia, and they will name it Zulu under them. And then they are going to be dominating Zulu, where they will fight a nuclear war with a spear. And then they will have a taller building, which is 1,800 meters to 1,700 meters up, and then they will fight a nuclear war with a spear. They mix a spear with a nuclear bomb. I don't know how they will do it. It's gonna be something that you haven't seen. Something that you haven't seen. We call Zulu Empire of the Spear, where they will win a nuclear war. Some of those nuclear wars will be lasting longer than maybe 40 years, something like that. And then they will come Ethiopia, who will dominate, and they will rule for a long time, and they'll discover other invasion and build a taller building that is almost 2,000 meters high. And then they will actually rule the whole world like Zulu did. They will control many places. But after them, when they will fall through a nuclear war with Tswana. Tswana will have conquered Kenya. They will actually overpower them and become a superpower, because Tswana are going to win a nuclear war, and they will dominate the whole world, and then they will be overtaken by Scandinavia. I said South America under Brazil will be overtaken by African empires. That's what I say. And then there will be another nuclear war between Scandinavia, who will take over America, Europe, and in the name of Greenland. And then I don't know whether Greenland will be called Greenland. I don't know. I can't say much about it. And then after, there will come another empire, Russia, which is the bear. Russia will overtake Scandinavia. Remember, Russia are the bear. They will rule thousands of years after the fall of America. Then they will come and fight a nuclear war where they will use Yoruba to colonize Africa. When they are using Yoruba to colonize Africa, Yoruba will take the whole of Africa and make it theirs. And then what's going to happen? They are going to be used to fight Scandinavia. That war will last for 8 years. It will be nuclear. Solving Nostradamus' jigsaw puzzle. That's the war Nostradamus is talking about. Zephaniah chapter 1. To say people must solve his jigsaw puzzle. So that's the jigsaw puzzle of Nostradamus. It will be Russia, Africa fighting against Scandinavia. So, which will be in form of Greenland. That empire will fall. And then what will happen? India will take over and become a superpower. I don't know whether India is the leopard. I don't know whether India will manage to recreate the world, but there will come a messenger who will actually take over Turkey and recreate the world and make the Middle East larger, Africa larger, Europe larger, and change it into Spain. There won't be no Europe again. Europe will be last seen during World War V, and there won't be no name called Europe again. And then there will be they will recreate America, South America. I don't know America what it will be called that time, because all these empires won't be they will be insignificant. Arabs are going to take over Ethiopia, Libya, Egypt. Black people, they will remain with Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, and the rest of Africa, and they're going to take 40% of Australia, but the rest will go to Arabs. I can't say much about this. What happened? The messenger will come, will teach people how to worship God. You will actually be an Arabic Jew who will be going around the world teaching people how to worship God. When people open churches we have today, all the churches we have, most of them are not perfect. So God will be closing them. Will be saying, close, using this messenger. Because the messenger will be able to see what's happening. He will go and take the Bible that has got prophecies, which is some. I can't mention where the Bible is. Let me leave it alone. Because it's large like a table. What's going to happen? That messenger will be tough. You'll stay for thousand years teaching people how to worship God, and the world will actually follow God. And then after he's gone, a new race will take over the world. After a new race takes over the world, they'll be overtaken by the rise of Arabs. Arabs will take over. Because remember, the messenger who have recreated the world will have recreated Egypt, will be strong. Remember, Egypt is strong. It will dominate and dominate, and then they will be overtaken by, they'll build a taller building which is 6,200 meters above sea level. I can't mention much. Would that empire be overtaken by Syria? That time there will be Shittim, which is called Jordan. Because Syria will be afraid of Shittim. But what's happening? Syria will be a large empire, a strong superpower, which will be discovering invasion. I will talk later about that. They will actually discover a planet, and they'll be strong in technology, whereby they will fight. Remember, Daniel 11 is about Syria, not about Obama. Syria will dominate and rule the world, and then they will fight a nuclear war for 100 years. But they'll be overtaken by Spain, which is large like a block, which will be the most powerful military power seen ever. Spain will actually rule and build a taller building, which is 12,000 meters up. And then that time people have developed powers to fly during the time of Egypt through science, and then also Spain. It will start during the time, I think, during the time of Brazil or China. I don't know who will get it. And that's why God will actually, because that time Spain will restore Israel. That is 6 tribes Arabs, 4 tribes black, 1 new race, 1 India, 1 China, 1 white people, 1 all race. Israel is mixed. What's happening is that's the time God will come and establish his kingdom. That's why God will come and establish his kingdom. And then that's why God will do judgment. And then that's where 1,000 year rule will come, etc., and then a judgment. And then after I've said what I said, I'm going to go back to the Bible a little bit. Daniel chapter 2 is about Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, and revived Roman Empire, we know is Spain. And then Daniel chapter 7 is about Italy, America. Because those empires in Daniel 2 never ruled the whole world. But this one in Daniel 7, they ruled the whole world. But it's supposed to be larger. It's supposed to be America, which is eagle. And those empires I mentioned after America. And then Russia as well, which is the bear. And then India, which is the leopard. And then empires that will rule after India, and then going to Spain. That's how Daniel chapter 2 is supposed, because the strongest is Spain. And then Daniel 11 is about Arabic empires that will dominate the world. It's looking here at Iran. And then it goes on to talk about Daniel 11. There's this king, people say it's Obama, Daniel 11. No, it's not Obama. Today in churches, people are teaching that, Daniel 11 is about Obama. It's about Obama. Obama is not mentioned in Daniel 11. That is about Syria, which will be powerful, which will rival Egypt. If you read verse 25, it's talking about the rise of Egypt. Egypt, who will be stronger, who will actually be stronger, who will be having technology more than what America has. And he's talking here about Daniel chapter Syria, which will be stronger more than America. These empires are going to have taller building, some of them about 500 to 650 meters up. And then we know Syria will have the one that's 7,550 meters up high, where people have developed powers to fly. And then God will destroy all those tall buildings that all these empires will be making. That's the thing which is up. Here he's talking about Syria, how they will be strong. Because Syria will be stronger than Menkel. Because when Spain comes, Spain will be the Menkel. mangle, not what we have today. People might look at America and say, America. It's nothing. Here I'm talking of Syria, because you read that time, there will be Shittim. You know Shittim, which is present day Jordan. That empire will change the name to Shittim. So that time, Syria will be the most powerful nation. And I remember that battle that they will fight. It's going to be along the Mediterranean Sea. And maybe it will expand to other places. But that nuclear war that is seen there is not Armageddon. That's not Armageddon. It's actually there are so many nuclear wars that are written in the Bible. But that one is actually a war between Syria and Egypt Empire, which will actually last a thousand and thousands of years. But it's going to be different from the one in Zephaniah chapter 1. But this one, we're talking of Egypt and Syria, because that's the time whereby Iran will come back. Because Iran will no longer be there in the map. They will have died a dead stroke with empires such as Saudi Arabia, Yemen, because Yemen are going to be allies of Spain. And also the Yemen as well are going to be allies of Spain in Armageddon. We know that, because here those empires will be larger than you have never seen. Will be larger than you have never seen. That's what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about, because there are people who interpret and say Daniel 11 is about end times. Daniel 11 is not about the end time. It's before the end time comes. Because we are far away from the end time. Many people, what they are preaching in churches today, they are preaching wrong information, which is not right. People, when they preach, they must preach the right message, not the wrong message. The right message. Please, let's preach the right message. Because God is going to judge people for lying. That's why you'll say in World War III that will last 26 years, and World War IV will last 26 years. Remember, other world wars that come after, some of them will last for 20, some will last for 30, some will last, it depends. Some will be expanding to 40, 50, 60, 80, 100. Because God is not happy with humanity. Humanity is not pleasing God. Humanity must turn back to God and worship God. What I've discovered is that I was shown that people worshiping what look like them. White people worship white image. Arabs worship Arabic image. Because that's what you are going to be seeing during the time of Egypt and Syria, where they will be worshiping Arabic image, calling them God. And then black people worship black image, they'll be calling them God. Indian will be worshiping Indian image, calling them God. And also Chinese will be worshiping Chinese image, calling them God. And Russia will be doing that as well. But what's going to happen? That is where God will be destroying those empires, because God wants people to worship him in heaven, not worship image. Let's stop worshiping image and worship what? God in heaven. Thank you.